All right, welcome back to another episode of Not As Interesting As We Think. That's Julie. I'm Dave, and we're here to talk about some creative business stuff, or just whatever.
Whew.
Yeah, it's been wow, guys, watching, listening. A lot of ramp up to this one. A lot of ramp up, which I'll talk about in the lifestyle basics. How you been
Yes.
doing, Julie? How you doing?
We just had 63 minutes of ramp up.
Oh my God, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's all my fault, but we got it figured out. Until next
Lifestyle
time.
basics already?
Yeah.
Where in the heck is Kate Middleton?
Oh, I don't know. I saw that.
I'm so worried.
I did you see the? I don't know. I'm kind of out of the loop, but all I saw was
Okay.
the Photoshop picture, right? And then there was
Yes.
the one of her walking out to the car with what's his name?
I'll tell you something. A couple of different things with a lot of people don't know. Associated Press rules and regulations for submitting images to news agencies. They cannot have they can't have any adjustment. You can't take a light pole out of somebody's head. You can't do any of that. So the problem with the Photoshop image to me was like, oh yeah. Every mom with multiple kids in a setting does that. You take one kid head, you put it, this kid, the head's better than this one, and you mix and match. She's an amateur, she's a hobbyist, so she did a bad job. That's the thing that got blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
Fast forward, that picture of her and Will's at the farm is not her. This is not
No,
her. That's like
it doesn't
some
look like her.
sort of look-alike. It's some influencer prank.
Yeah, it's like you remember when Melania Trump didn't want to go with wherever Trump was going to go, and they had that stand-in or
Yes,
whatever
a
that
body
kind of looked like
double.
a body double.
It's a body double. It's a body double. But I don't think that the palace sent them to the farm. She's not going to wear exercise leggings out and run errands like a common person. The farm. Like, if we've never seen that in history, why are we falling for it now? Can the palace listen to the podcast and please just issue a statement? Kate is
Right.
fine, but give me just a picture on social media with Kate holding up a newspaper with the date so I can see that she's okay.
Proof of life. Proof of life.
Proof of life. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think she probably had a hysterectomy, something that takes this much time to recover for. Give her a break.
Yeah.
What?
By the way,
Okay.
I just moved myself down in the camera, Julie, because Julie likes to be very she likes to be even, so that like our heads are close. So there you
Are
go.
we even now? Okay.
There we go. We're
As
even
long as
now.
we're even. Okay,
We're
go
even.
with your lifestyle basics. Go
Oh,
with
hey,
your
guess what,
lifestyle
guys?
basics.
I've got a brand new
Oh.
computer. Yay! It's been tumultuous. It's been tumultuous. I swear to God, Julie, I was getting so frustrated with that iPad situation. Like I love my iPad. It's a great tool, but it's absolutely
It's not.
1000% not a replacement for a laptop. Not even a little bit.
Oh my God.
It's
I don't know how
God.
you made it that long. I don't.
My wife, God love her. My wife was so tolerant, because even though I could hook up a mouse to it, which I thought I didn't even know you could do that, but I could do it, and it was good. I mean, well, it was okay, and the keyboard was great, so I had some functionality, but like everything I did took 3 times or as long as, if not more. And so it's just like typing. I didn't even really want to write for the newsletter or anything, because it was like everything, trying to type a 2,000 word deep dive is going to take me 16 days. Right. Right. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was going to be like, this is going to take forever, just because I don't want to go into the nuance of it, but it was just like, it just was difficult. And so I'm so relieved that the computer came in earlier than I expected. They said it was supposed to be delivered like next week, but then I got a message while I was out at a swim meet. They said, hey, your computer's here. I was like, yes, let's stop everything. Let's go to the Apple store right now. And so
this may come as a shock to you, but I'm famous for throwing technology into the driveway. I don't know how you even sent it for repair. I would have been like, oh, done. Can't take it.
Yeah.
I can't even take it. So you get the award for patience and perseverance of the week.
Yeah. Well, you didn't see what was happening inside the house, but yeah, I was getting difficult to deal with. I'm sure my wife would agree with that statement. But anyway, but we're good. I mean, the bumps in the road, trying to figure out how to get the dang cameras and microphones to work with the new machine. We should have tested and tuned. I should have tested and tuned before this, but hey, I figured Apple would be
Hmm.
perfect. It would work just fine,
Yeah.
you know, but that's okay. Next
Babies
time.
can use it. Hmm.
Exactly.
Well, so
Anyway,
we are finding our way around the podcast, and the podcast is growing into a very nice uh tree. I don't know what I'm talking about, but we're coming along with the agendas here, and I think we're providing the people with very useful, straightforward, no fluff entertainment.
yeah, there was a
Is
statement
it
you had
entertainment?
said. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean,
I
I
mean,
think we're
whatever.
relatively infotainment, maybe. I hate that one, but whatever.
Infotainment. Right.
You said something in one of our offline meetings. You said a phrase that I really appreciated. You said a better information sense of small business. Maybe I'm paraphrasing that, but I thought it was a better informed sense of small business.
You know why it's a better informed small business? Because unlike the majority of coaches and programs and everything that people are selling, I in particular learned it all from the school of hard knocks, doing and testing and doing everything myself. So
Yeah.
I was shocked to see how many people were spending $6, 7, 8, $10,000 on coaching workshops. Did you see that the other day?
No, I did not.
What the heck? What the
I know
heck,
those people, though.
people?
I know those
Oh,
people.
it's too much. You don't need it. If you I think there's a certain amount of grit that you need to open a small business, particularly a creative small business, and you get the grit by slaving and toiling away, not buying a
Yeah.
magic pill,
Right.
bullet,
Yeah, I've said it
whatever,
before, I
magic
think,
pill.
where it's like you can watch all the videos you want about how to learn how to do push-ups. You can watch all the videos on how to do the perfect push-up, but you're not going to get any you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to learn. You can't video yourself learn or, course yourself into becoming good at push-ups, right? You just have to get there
Yeah.
at a
You
certain
have to
point, do
do
the work.
so many push-ups. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
watching any videos on push-ups.
I mean, it's okay to watch a video on push-ups to make sure you do in good form, but then stop and then go do the work, right? That's what
A
it
lot of
is. So,
work. Right.
a lot of work. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and Julie and I were having this conversation again offline, and we were talking about the different types of things that we see, right? And there's a certain subset. Now, this isn't everybody, but there are definitely like three key factors, three groups of individuals.
Types. Right.
Yeah, three types.
Before we mention the three types, I just wanted to preface, we see that I think when I'm on social media, I find these three types of categories of person or business owner, whatever, account user, so prevalently that I feel like you're bound to fall into one of these barrels at some point. Right? Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I think it's fair. I mean, I've looking at it, I think I think we've all been a little bit at this stage, at one of these stages at some point in our career. And I mean, to be completely truthful right now, Julie, I'm kind of at the first one right now. I mean, I have. Well, we'll say them out and then we'll talk about that. So,
okay.
You want to give?
So I'm browsing. Yeah. So I'm browsing social media a lot in preparation for the show and to see where we can guide our next and future episodes and whatever. And I come across three different types of creatives. Three different types of creatives. Do you need a website? Creatives that are frustrated with their engagement, and creatives that are having trouble selling any of their merchandise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty good. Again, there's probably other little, there's smaller nuanced things that everybody's dealing with, but these are probably the core three categories of people that we know or we've seen.
Yes.
So for sure.
Yeah.
I was just saying that I'm dealing with the number one exactly right now. Now, The Hungry, the newsletter, has its own website. And I have my own personal website where I used to sell my art, which I'm not focused on anymore because I'm really putting all my energy into the newsletter. But I have this domain, and now I have some things there, but I'm not really focused any energy into it. And then I have my kind of personal blog slash newsletter that's just, I just call it the Dave blog, and it just kind of talks about everything that I'm dealing with, the nuances, the behind the curtain stuff. And I've been thinking, do I keep my website like just as it is and figure out something to do with it, or do I just transfer my domain to the Dave blog newsletter, whatever, and make that my daveconry.com, right? So I'm kind of in there too. So I get it. I get it.
I feel like this will happen to you. Either any one of these categories will happen to you at some point. So I feel like the best way to avoid this and handle this is to think of how you're going to preempt and avoid it from the get-go. Anticipate that you would fall into one of these groups at any time. So if for me about the website, just we don't have to go through each one of these, but I'm thinking of, okay, if I have a website, I want everything under one umbrella so that if somebody wants this area of my expertise, they're going to already be able to find this area. So like it's a broader Julie Pritchard than if I have things disconnected. I mean, I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I get it. Right. It's the overarching, the umbrella of everything, Julie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I get that too. For sure. So this is a lot. The reason I separated Dave Conry and The Hungry as to two different entities, and this is a pretty lofty goal, right? Like I'm not doubting that this is potentially like could never happen, but it could happen, is that The Hungry becomes something bigger than myself, and to a point where it's other people are writing a lot of the work and other people are doing things, and I'm just kind of like, over here managing everything that's happening. And maybe it gets so big and so popular that somebody says, hey, we want to buy The Hungry from you, right? And so they buy it from me, and then it becomes not me anymore, right? So eventually, right? I'll still probably potentially always be associated with it, but it will be not me anymore. And so that's why I wanted to have like two separate things. It was a very clear idea behind that, and that's because I've seen a few other stories of where that's happened with newsletters and whatnot.
Right. So then what I would say, what I would think if I was in that position, so I'd get thehungry.com, I would forward it to juliepritchard.com. So if you're on The Hungry, you're under the Julie Pritchard umbrella. You can also assign different roles to different people, writers onto the account if the event that happens. And then if there's a purchase, just break it off and they forward it somewhere, take it somewhere else. You just, cut off the limb. I don't know, but I mean, I think that the fact that so many people spend so much energy worrying about either any of these three categories, that there has to be a better way. And if you anticipated that these are going to happen, perhaps maybe that energy can help you circumvent them. For example, if you're thinking about how you can't sell any art, I'm looking at, I can't sell any art. Who's selling art? Let me go check out what they're doing. Not complaining. I had a reel. I did an experiment in honor of the podcast, because I knew that this topic was going to come up. I had a reel that I released last week, and it performed poorly in a sense of how my reels usually perform. And I was like, what the heck? So then I thought, okay, well, the footage is bad. This is really an amazing topic. I think this topic is very valuable. What's going on? So a couple of things happened when I posted the first reel. The time change, and I overslept, so it was an hour late than my normal thing. My footage was dramatically different than my normal reels because I fished it out of my reruns because I wasn't feeling well and I had something going on. So I think I fished out the wrong footage, and I posted it at a different time subsequently, or the topic sucked and it was only good to me. So I was like, dang, this reel didn't perform well. And I didn't go crazy and decide and announce that I was going to quit social media. What did I do? I went with the I went with the footage. I addressed the footage concern, and I reshot the footage this week, and I posted it with the same caption. I got it under the time of day that I normally post my reels. I put it with way better footage more that people would be accustomed to me seeing. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to test it. Post. Well, what do you think happened? It failed.
Right, right.
It failed again. I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Yeah, yeah,
What is
yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with everybody? This is a really great topic. Okay, drop it. This is not the topic for social media. I'll take the topic and I'll parlay it into something else somewhere down the line, but this is not my topic. This is not my audience for this.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't go on there and say, F Instagram, I'm out of here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting you bringing that particular topic up because I'm in a thing right now, and I haven't really shared this wide. You know, maybe you saw the post, but I'm going back to my YouTube channel starting this week. Like I'm going to be uploading a new video this week on Friday for my personal YouTube channel, and I had been hesitant on it for a really long time because the content that I was making before isn't going to be the content that I'm making on it going forward. And that's going to be detrimental to a certain degree because the other content, although valuable, isn't where I'm at. And so it's going to, I'm going to, even though I know it's going to do pretty bad comparative to some of my other videos, it's like I'm kind of leaning into the idea of creating more of an I don't know how to say this, artistic expression almost through the video itself to make it compelling enough to watch longer. But I have no proof of concept of that whatsoever. I have no proof of concept of that, but we're going to give it a shot and I'm just going to lean in. And even though there will be probably a very long readjustment period for all of that, it's like, I just, I don't know. I just got to double it. I got to lean in to it because I feel like that's where I need to go. And I'm not going to go back to the other type of content because it just doesn't resonate with me anymore.
So
So
that's
I don't know.
totally fine.
Yeah.
It's fine because you acknowledge it and you understand that this is not going to start off running straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Not you can't. I think what a common misconception that people have is you cannot expect the same group of people to see your stuff every day. You can't expect the same performance. You can't expect and anticipate the same level of sales or whatever. It's a constant hustle. I think over a long period of time, you can stabilize yourself, but it's not something that will happen in a week, a month. Um, I mean, you even hear people that go viral, and then what do? Well, they can't go viral again. So, oh, well, this is the algorithm. Blame that. It takes time. Matt, you have to envision yourself in a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
I've
and
never gone
it's like
viral in my entire life, by the way.
I don't know if I
Yeah,
have. I don't think I have. I don't even know what. Who cares? What is viral?
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't know.
in fact, I think it's kind of like you were saying. Like if they go viral, they automatically assume they're going to continue to go viral, and then that's it. They're like the pathway is lined with gold forever, and I think that's not the right way to
No,
look at it. I think it's
because
just
social media is too fickle, short attention spans, constantly change. It's a game, it's a gamble. You can't control, the house is always going to win. Instagram is always going to win. It's not really made for the favor of creators.
yeah. Kind of on that same vein of what I was talking about the YouTube. Something else we wanted to talk about today is what would you do if you had to start from scratch? It's like for me, it's like I'm starting this YouTube video. It's like, and I'm not erasing any of the old content. Maybe I should, I'm not sure, or at least hide it or whatever. I'm still debating on that. But if I'm basically starting from scratch, like what have I learned to understand better how to do it this time? Like for you, Julie, like if you had to, let's say, you know, your studio is wiped out. Like none of your paint, none of your tools, none of the paintings on the wall, none of the canvases. Your social media was gone. All of your connections were gone. All you had was like a stipend to replenish your stock to some degree, to a small degree, right? And then go figure your way back to where you were before or better.
I think the most valuable thing that you cannot wipe clean is what I already know.
Yeah.
And I already know that if I want to do something, I'm going, if that were to happen to me, I'm staying the course. At in the discovery phase of Julie, many, 20 whatever years ago when I started painting, there was dabbling in all mediums, all types of art, um, buying every supply under the sun. We used to collect coupons to purchase things and for 40% off at the craft big box stores or whatever, and ask your neighbors and whatever, hey, can I have your coupon, and go multiple times, just build stock. I wrote a workshop recently about paint mixing. I wish I would have started that at the beginning of my career, because I would have purchased because, by the way, all that stuff that I purchased at the get-go, I donated thousands of dollars to the school district here. Thousands. Like, I could have easily opened up a store. I donated it all. I would stay the course and hone my skill and get really, really great at the one thing that makes me most happy.
Yeah, what's that?
That's it. Well, painting.
Oh, painting. Got it. So, but what would you like if you were to, let's say you were painting, would you go all in on selling the work, or would you still do the hybrid of selling the work and also serving your audience, even if you were just building up an audience for that?
Oh, well, I mean, certainly you can do both, but I think you have a difficult time selling. You're talking about courses and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? So I think you would have a better avenue to sell courses if you built up some credentials and some experience and a portfolio. I don't think that. I mean, I know as a consumer, I'm not going to just pop in and I definitely look at somebody's resume before I would purchase anything. I think there's a lot of that. I would think go ahead.
I was going to say, what is something that you did in the past that you would definitely not do again now?
Purchase everything and worry about galleries liking my work.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't turn down gallery representation, right? I mean, you would, if somebody came to you and said, we want to represent you at the gallery, you wouldn't turn it down.
I turn it down all the time.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Why is that? Why? I have a
because
I
I'm
have
not
a,
giving
a
because
story
I
on this,
don't
but go
because
ahead.
because experiences that I have with the gallery. I've been in I've had shows, and I have been with galleries. I don't like doing that because I don't want to pay the cut. I feel like
Yeah.
I've done so much to put out my reputation and build my following or whatever, a newsletter and my website and all this stuff over all these years, that why would I want to give 50% of the cost of something to a gallery?
Mhm.
I can't do
I,
that. It just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't
yeah.
sit right with me. I mean, it would have to be a really special gallery with a really special curator in it and a really great deal for me to accept it at this point in my career, because I honestly don't care. And if
Mhm.
somebody says I'm represented by a gallery, I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't make anybody's art more better than what I'm doing, in my opinion. That
Mhm.
the representation doesn't put
Yeah.
anybody on a higher level.
Yeah.
This is a
So,
touchy subject, I know.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, I think that one of the misconceptions about getting in, and this is, I have another little story, but one of the misconceptions I think a lot of people have about getting represented by a gallery is that they think that it's definitely it's the pay, again, the golden
The
road, right?
pinnacle. Right.
Right. That you're definitely like, I've made it. But the thing is that even if you do get represented by, a substantial gallery, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell the paintings off the walls, because usually most of these galleries still have that whole 80-20 rule where 80% of their money is made by 20% of their artists. And if you're not part of that 20%, well, you're going to get less attention, because the ones that make 80% of the money get 80% of the attention from the gallery, because they know, like, I've got to lean into these people in my stable of artists in order to keep the gallery afloat. And so there's a good chance that just because you're represented by gallery that you'll still have to do a lot of footwork for yourself in order to sell through that gallery. And again, them taking 50% of the cut, even though they haven't been doing 50% of the work.
So I think that when you ask that question of what would you do first if you were starting over, and I have it in my notes here, is establish my marketing immediately.
Yeah. What would be your marketing?
Immediately.
Like,
What
what would
my
be the
what
pillars
my
of your marketing?
brand is going to look like, it's going to look like abstract paintings. Build the website, the font, like my website's going to tie into my social media presence.
Your visual aesthetic is
My
all
marketing,
unified.
unify everything visually and be consistent on my social media.
Hmm.
I had a couple of pictures of like ice creams and stuff at the beginning of my feed, and it got into like, oh, I went to a restaurant, take a picture of your plate, whatever. No, consistent, even
Hmm.
Steven, professional marketing, and start collecting those contacts.
Hmm. It's good.
Yeah.
So the other story I was thinking, like, are you familiar with the artist Ashley Longshore?
No.
Okay, so she was a Southern Louisiana, or like not Baton Rouge, but New Orleans artist. I think she's moved since to New York because she was selling more of her artwork out there, and she's a firebrand. She's a firecracker for sure. But when I had a conversation with her, one of the things she said is she's not into gallery representation at all. She had her own studio gallery where she would paint and you could sell and buy her work directly. She would literally be in the same place painting while people would come in and buy the art. And she said she would never take gallery representation unless they paid for the paintings up front because she knew she could sell her paintings. Her paintings would sell. She's proven she could sell her paintings. So
Yeah.
if a gallery said, "Hey, we want to represent you," it's like, okay, well, buy everything at the wholesale price that you want to pay for it, buy it all at once, and then it's on you. Then you do whatever you want with it at that point because I've been paid, and now it's on you to do your work to get it sold, right? As
That's a
opposed
good,
to,
I agree with it. I agree with
yeah,
that statement. Yeah.
I mean, you have to have some big, some major pull, right? You have to be able to produce good numbers in order to get to that stage. But I think that
I already
she,
know. I mean, that's the same. I already know I can sell paintings. So
yeah,
why do I need somebody? I don't want anybody else to do it for me. It
that's
doesn't make any sense for me
exactly,
financially.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know, but anyway,
Mhm.
that's a sidebar for sure. But I
Yeah.
think the core thing is what you were saying is like starting, make sure your marketing's on point, make sure your visual aesthetics is on point. For me, I would definitely, I would add a newsletter or, a way to pull in at least email addresses so that you
Right.
have a direct correlation to those people as opposed to maybe this video will get seen on Instagram or maybe this, thread will get found on, threads or whatever, or this post. And so it's that crapshoot, but yeah, definitely lean into the newsletter, lean into the marketing, and definitely more consistency with the imagery for sure. Absolutely. Even
Right.
though
I
I've never been great about that myself, never been perfect with that myself, but you do it really well.
I think thank you. I think that you should realize that if you're sitting at home and you're watching this and you're thinking you're going to one day sell paintings or whatever, start those steps today. So you can get
Mm.
a free website, start it up. You can start posting consistently. Even if you haven't sold a painting, imagine that you are going to sell the painting so that you don't have, once things start rolling, you don't have to all of a sudden wonder what to do and switch things and be bogged down with everything. Start everything because you have the intention that you're going to be successful.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
I would do. Yeah.
Yeah. So Julie, we don't have a creatives in the news this week. I was
Well,
looking. I didn't really have anything that was like major. I think the biggest
well, we
piece of
kind of
it,
do.
well, oh yeah, what's that?
Aside from Kate Middleton, it's full
I was
for
going to say that's the
Photoshop.
story.
That's what. What about TikTok? Do you use
Oh,
TikTok?
yes. Yeah, I
Wait,
used
do
to.
you use TikTok? Oh,
Not anymore. Not anymore. I used to. I built
hmm.
up quite a following. Like I have over 20,000 followers on there,
Whoa.
but I just got tired of it. And I felt like I was trying to, again, one of those things where I spread myself too thin. It was like, Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all these. And I was just like, I just can't. Like it was giving me anxiety, after a while of just having to manage all of them. And I just kind of stopped on TikTok. So,
I
but
never
yeah,
really, I never got into TikTok. I tried to get into TikTok when my daughter started talking about TikTok. I'm like, well, I'm going to be on TikTok. I already manage. I can master Instagram. I can master TikTok. I didn't find the interface use intuitive, and I got frustrated, so I just left it. But so with everything that's happening in the news with TikTok, I was doing some research about TikTok. Did you know that TikTok is having trouble ma- keeping the attention of the 20-year-old, whatever, the younger crowd that was on there initially? And TikTok is aging upward.
yeah,
The
yeah, for
users are
sure.
changing differently.
Yeah, it's becoming Facebook, right?
I mean, I
Pretty
don't know
soon
if I
it'll
would go
only be
that
your
far.
grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're the new, like, my kid doesn't watch TikTok. He doesn't have TikTok, and I'm glad. I'm glad he doesn't have it because there's something to be said about, even though you can still do the doom scroll of videos on Instagram and you can do it on YouTube too, it's a little different on TikTok. It's like they've definitely programmed that app to be more of like, addictive and, like attention candy, yeah, I don't know. The ban is going to be interesting. For one, it's not going to happen right away. Even if they does get through the Senate and then gets its way up to the White House, I I would
To
be
become a
curious to
bill.
see. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that if it got to the White House in time, like whoever is the president at that point, I think whoever it might be, they might veto it because it seems like
So
such a big
they
deal and
didn't
too many people.
they're trying to sell it. So well, I guess people are talking about, well, somebody other than China can own it and then it could stay in. And then do you get yourself into, well, I mean, like, I guess then that's like proprietary channel. But I guess so is Meta.
Well, it's not so much. I think that it wouldn't be any different than like say back when the first time they were talking about it being sold, Microsoft had a an inkling for it, right? They were thinking about, they offered it up. They went to ByteDance and they said, "Hey, we'll take over control in America or whatever." And I think that it wasn't beneficial to ByteDance at the time, but also I think that the biggest concern is obviously the data. They really just want to make sure that whatever their servers are, they're not connected to China at all. Because technically, the ByteDance says they are not, even though they're in Hong Kong, they're not, like, they're disconnected from, like, China. The political power has not, as according to them, has not said anything about, we want to get this data, we want to use this data, we want to perpetuate a political advantage through propaganda or whatever. Except they just kind of did, because I don't know if you saw this, but TikTok put out a video on their own channel and pushed it to everybody. They literally pushed it to everyone in America to say, talk to your representatives, to make sure that TikTok doesn't get banned or whatever.
Oh, so
And
they're
so,
jumping in. They're
yeah,
in.
they're in now. Well, I don't know if
Okay.
it was China that did it or if it was just ByteDance that did it, and who knows what they're in, obviously they don't want to sell. They want to keep company. It was just TikTok itself jumping in, but who knows? Maybe, Papa Communism is standing over their shoulder telling them, hey, this is what you're
Yeah,
going to
it's a
do. So
weird.
that's the X factor, right? That we don't know, that we'll never know. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But I don't see the ban actually happening for a really long time, because even if it does go through that process, even if the president did sign off on it, ByteDance has already said they're going to file an appeal immediately, to the Supreme Court or whatever, and figure that out. So it's going to be caught up in litigation for a really long time. So it's not going away right away, even if it did
Yeah.
get, even if the bill did go through.
You have to be concerned about that for sure, because the same thing could happen to Instagram. That's happening to TikTok at any moment. And if that's your
Yeah.
primary source of marketing, get your home base set up just in case. That's not like a doomsday conspiracy plan. That's like the backup plan. Dave, that's
Yeah.
your backup laptop.
Mm. Yeah. Everything's on the cloud now, Julie. Everything's in the cloud
We are
now.
in the cloud.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but I lost, of all the things, the one thing that I don't even know how I would be able to have backed it up. But there was one app that I use as a writing tool called AI Writer, and it's not. I don't know why they call it AI Writer. It has nothing to do with artificial intelligence at all. But it was it was a good writing tool because it allowed me to black out the screen and I could just focus on the words. So I'd use it a lot, and I had a lot of words in there. And there were random notes and things like scripts for videos, or notes for whatever thing, or some of the things I had written for blog posts or whatever. Gone, completely gone. It was one of these things that I just like out of sight, out of mind. Didn't realize that it was one of the things that I wasn't backing up anywhere because
So
it doesn't
what's your
connect to the cloud.
so what's 2.0? You're on a different app that does back up now.
Now I'm just on
Right?
Docs, Google Docs.
Yeah, well that's
Yeah.
fine. That's better,
Yeah.
seems, right?
Yeah. It's just Google Docs. It's I have to figure out if Google Docs can do black screen as opposed to a white screen, because I hate writing with a white screen.
Really? I never used that. I never used the dark mode or the white screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I always
Right.
use the white screen, not the dark mode. I'm sorry, I'm low blood sugar.
Yeah. No, you're right. So we're getting it. We're tapping into Julie's snack time.
It's my snack time.
She's going hypoglycemic.
Starting to
No,
get the
but-
shakes.
Yeah. So,
My coffee is long cold.
Yeah. That's why I got the heater here.
I know. I don't have one of those. I don't have one of those.
Anyway,
Well,
so yeah, so I don't
everybody-
know. Bike dance.
we'll keep our eye on the pulse for that one.
Yeah, keeping a finger on the pulse.
Finger on the
for sure.
finger on the pulse.
Hey, Julie, what do you know?
I'm trying to think of what I know. I feel like I'm a little bit out of shape from podcasting because we had a little bit of a break. So I'm trying to get back into it here. I think what I know is I'm having a really challenging time right now. Personally, I've got a lot of stuff going on here in the back burner that wasn't normally happening before with my parents and, their health and my health and all that stuff. And I think what the most important thing I've learned over the years is it only takes one click and one person to make a sale. So regardless of what type of day you're having on social media, my advice for everybody and things that I know is don't give up and just try every day, because you never know when that content you post is going to resonate the most with people. And you have a lot of stuff in your phone probably that can be turned into content. So I would say just, keep on keeping on, and remember, things are not a marathon. I mean, things are a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and make sure everything's attached to the cloud.
That's your tip of the day, right?
So question.
Cloud.
Yeah, it's the cloud. Yeah, cloud. The question for everybody here today is, I want to know, if you had to start over from scratch, bottom rung of the ladder, what would you do different? Make sure you go down to the comments below in the YouTube video and share those comments with us. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, audio-wise, well, then just give us a shout somewhere, like on Instagram or Threads or somewhere, and let us know what your answer to the question is. And so we're interested to find out how you feel about all this. And if you appreciated this video or this audio or whatever it is you're listening to, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, or like it and share it with everybody. Anything else? Is that
No.
it? Are we...
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Have some. Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yep. We'll see you next time.